Yesterday, there was a very momentous occasion that happened in the history of cricket. South Africa, forever the perennial underachievers when it comes to cricket. They have achieved a lot of things in their history. But when it comes to ICC events and South Africa, it is a match made in hell. Consider the men's team. They have always stumbled when it came to the knockout matches. But the women's team yesterday, on Friday, which was the 24th of February, they managed to achieve something very, very historic. At Newlands, in front of a packed partisan crowd, South Africa's women's cricket team managed to beat England by 6 runs, and because of that, they are into the final of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup. Let this thing sink in. The South Africa women's cricket team have achieved what the men have still not been able to do. This is how historic and magnificent this is. That is another debate altogether, whether South Africa can get past the Southern Stars, that is the Australia women's cricket team. They are meeting in the final, and in many ways this is a dream final. Why is that? We always thought Australia versus South Africa finals in the men's ICC events or any kind of event was the ultimate clash between two of the greatest teams that are there. But that has never come to fruition because South Africa have always choked. But the women's team have held their own, and that is why now they are into the final. So how significant this truly is, if you look at the broader the macroeconomics of all this, it is a landmark moment in South African sport. So just before I come to this impact, I'll just tell you what has happened. South Africa have beaten England by 6 runs. First time South Africa cricket, be it the men's or the women's senior team, they have made it to the final of an ICC event in the 21st century. Why I am saying the 21st century and senior? Because in 1998, South Africa won the first Champions Trophy by beating West Indies. Then the under-19 team have won it in 2014. So the senior team, for the first time in their history, they have made it to the final. Now there was one very, very special player who was at the South Africa women's cricket team dugout. He was there cheering them on. He sang the national anthem with them and encouraged them at every single point in time. His comments after the match, he said, "We as men, when we start supporting the women, mindsets will change." 2023 is actually her year. That means it's the year where women are expected to dominate. Who is this individual? Sia Coetzee. Now, if you mention the word Sia Coetzee to any sporting personality that is there in the world, his name will draw awe and it will draw a lot of affection. Why is that? Sia Coetzee was the captain of the 2019 rugby team, the Springboks. They managed to beat England 32-12 and win the Rugby World Cup for the 3rd time, level with the dominant All Blacks who also have 3. But what was his appointment which made it so special? In the 126th year of Springbok rugby, in the history of rugby, he was the first black South African to win it. As captain, he became the first South African leader to win a World Cup, and Sia Coetzee's name is etched in the history books as one of the most influential sporting personalities to have ever come out of Africa. That is his impact. And remember, on 26th February, Newlands is going to be even more dramatically packed because South Africa versus Australia. Australia in particular, a team where South Africa have always wanted to be the best of the lot. They have a chance on February 26th. How big is this achievement for South African cricket? The women have entered the final, but look at South Africa's men. Their horror story is well chronicled. Men's team have never made it to an ICC ODI or T20I final. Lost in the ODI semi-final. Now here is where I will give you a full list of their horrors. 1992, undone by the rain rule. 22 of 7, 21 of 1. Game over for South Africa. 1999. Who can ever forget that greatest ODI that was ever played at Edgbaston? Steve Waugh himself admitted, even Shane Warne admitted, that Australia were on top of that game for only one delivery. Such was the fine balance. When Lance Klusener hit 2 fours, one through deep point and one through wide long off, one was needed of 4. But South Africa unfortunately fell a reverse victim to this one particular ploy that the British Lions coach had used. Brains in the freezer, body in the oven. Unfortunately, it was brains in the oven, bodies in the fridge. South Africa short-circuited in the most dramatic way, and from that point on, the choker word came. 2007, total surrender against Australia, who are at the top of their game. 2015, New Zealand. Perhaps a golden generation of South African cricketers have gone by without ever winning a World Cup. Consider this: Hashim Amla, Jacques Kallis, A.B. de Villiers, Morne Morkel, Dale Steyn. All of them never won a World Cup. Lost in the T20 World Cup semi-final in 2009 and 2014. 2009, inspired play from Pakistan. 2014, Virat Kohli's brilliance. And furthermore, if you have to look at it, 1996 quarterfinal, 2011 quarterfinal. In 1996, bad team selection. 2011, an absolute meltdown against New Zealand. So, years and years of horror that they have had in ICC events. Let us not forget 2003 and 2022. 2003, misinterpretation of the Duckworth-Lewis target, out with the scores level. 2022 also, just could not beat the Netherlands. That was rock bottom. But the women's cricket team have given South Africa plenty to cheer about. This final is just the start of something very, very special. Can they get revenge? Can South Africa end the Australian dominance that's there in the T20 World Cup? Remember, 5 out of 7 T20 World Cups Australia won, 7 ODI World Cups, and they have done the three-peat ever since 2017. 2018 T20 World Cup, 2020 T20 World Cup, Commonwealth Games gold medal, and also 2022 ODI World Cup. It's actually the 4-peat. Can they do the 5-peat now, Australia heading into the final on February 26th? Because South Africa were very unlucky to lose by 5 runs in the semi-final that was held at Sydney in 2020. Duckworth-Lewis method yet again hurting South Africa. But luckily on 26th February, there is no rain, there is no other major calamity that is forecast. So South Africa can at least hope that DLS stays away. RSA men's and women's team have never beaten Australia in ICC knockout matches. Consider that fact. 2007, 1999. They have never beaten them in a knockout stage. If you have to look at all the small instances, 1997 and 1993, when the Tri-Series final was being held in Australia, the men's team won the first game, botched up the next 2 to lose 2-1. They had dominated Australia on all fronts, yet they came second best. You have to look at the 1998 Commonwealth Games then. That was the only time South Africa had beaten Australia to secure the gold medal in Kuala Lumpur. But Australia were not fielding a very strong team at that point in time. Here, this Australian Southern Stars team, Alisa Healy, Meg Lanning, Beth Mooney, then you've got Elise Perry, Ashley Gardner, Jess Jonathan, Talia McGrath, Megan Schutt, Georgia Wareham, Darcy Brown, Alana King. All these superstars have had big game experience. For South Africa, this is the first time on the grand stage. Can South Africa beat Australia and ensure that they script a glorious chapter in their sporting history? Remember, the last couple of years have been very, very sad for South Africa. The constant economic downturns, COVID, also unstable government, violence, problems in South African cricket administration. Remember, CSA was dissolved at one point in time. Only now they are starting to be stable. The women's team somehow out of the ashes they have come out and they have reached the final. Remember, prior to this they had a very good tri-series where they defeated India and won. So that is why February 26th, that is going to be the key. This is the major reason why tomorrow's final will be epic. Can South Africa achieve history or can Australia make it 6 out of 8? Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on Sports Today. Press the like, comment, and share button. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to download the SportsTak mobile app.